Was it God suddenly deciding to send spies? Was it Moshe asking God to send spies? If somebody learns in the order of the book, he doesn't know what happened. He thinks that Hashem speaks to Moshe, like the verse begins, Vayedaber Hashem el Moshe Leimer. Hashem spoke to Moshe saying, Shlach lecho anoshim, send forth men, if you please, Vayasuru es Eretz Canaan, and let them spy out the land of Canaan, Asher ani noten livnei Israel, that I give to the children of Israel, Ish echad, one man, each of his father's tribe, Lemate avoisof tishlochu, shall you send, Koil nasi boem, everyone a leader among them. And the Torah lists the leaders of those tribes who were chosen to be the people. What? But you hear some noise, right?
Yeah, somebody's phone is playing a lecture or something.
Maybe it's my phone.
No.
You think it's a bomb?
No, I just think somebody's phone is on a lecture.
Look at her.
Maybe it's what happened? What happened?
Sorry, I'm just rushed.
What?
I'm being so anxious.
It's fine.
Please.
Carmen, הכל בסדר. Everything is good. No worries. Alles is good. And you read that and you don't know, why is God telling Moshe, send them according if you wish? Since when is God giving Moshe the opportunity? If you please, and if you don't please, then don't do it. But when you go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1, right in the beginning of Dvorim, you found out the background of what happened. Look on page 945, verse 2 before Chumash Dvorim. What does it say on page 945 in the English? Verse 22. All of you approached me and said, quote, let us send men ahead of us and let them spy out the land and bring words back to us. You came. It wasn't that I offered something. The spies was initiated by the people. You came and you asked. It says Moshe in verse 23, the idea was good in my eyes. Vayita beina adavar, vo'ekach mikem, and I took from you 12 men, one man of each tribe. I liked it. What do you mean, I liked it? Says Rashi right there, I liked it. God didn't like it. Moshe said, if that's what you want, pajalasta. You want to have spies? Have spies. God is not happy with you that you're asking for spies. Why wouldn't God be happy? Because He promised them, you're going to a good land. And if God promises you you're going to a good land, what do you need spies for? What are you making Meshuggah? What are you making a whole commotion? But you want that, so I liked it. But then if you liked it, what's the problem? So Rashi brings us a very famous example from the Medrash, which explains it with a parable. The Medrash says that one comes to his colleague, somebody comes to his friend, and he says, please sell me your donkey.
You what?
Your donkey. A donkey. Chamor. So the guy says, you want me to sell you my donkey? Okay. So then the guy says, oh, 1 second. Can I have a chance to test your donkey out? This is after he asked him to sell it to him. Can I test it out? You want to test it out? Pajalasta. Okay, test it out. Bevakasha. Fine. No. Sorry. Now that you're giving me to test it out, can I go on hills and valleys, up and down, climbing different hills with your donkey, making sure? You want hills and valleys. Go on the hills, go into the valleys. No, the buyer, the potential buyer, sees that everything he asks is being granted. So the buyer says in his heart, "Ah, that must be a very good donkey. If he allows me to go and try it, he allows me to ride it on horses, on mountains and on hills, that's probably a very good donkey, and the donkey has no deficiencies and no health problems, and he's going to do this job 100%. So instead of taking it for a try, what does he do? He'll take the money away. I trust you. Take the money. Moshe thought to himself, says Rashi, the same thing. The land, God said it's going to be a good land. They're coming to me, come on, I know God said, we got to try it out. Let's send spies. If Moshe would say, Christ, you crazy? Spies? You want to send spies? God told you, why are you sending spies? They're going to say, Moshe is a fanatic. He trusts 100% God. Something is not adding up here. If he doesn't let us send spies, something is wrong. So Moshe said, Rashi thought to himself, you want to have spies? Makasha, go for it, have spies. And he thought, I remember I had a friend, I'm now reminding myself, I had a friend who came back from a vacation in Kfar Chabad, and they were children. And he tells me, what happened at my Bobby's house? I had a cousin who very much liked ice cream. And the mother thought, that's it. That's the way to get him off ice cream. You want ice cream? Take. More, take more. More, take more. And she was convinced that this was going to tell him, take it. And then she said, okay, I don't like ice cream anymore. Meantime, his cousin kept on going, and he won. And the mother, at some point, had to say, no, I'm sorry. But it doesn't always work. What do you call it? Reverse psychology? It doesn't always work. So Rashi says, that's what happened to Moshe. I thought I'm going to tell you, go for it. Want spies, take spies. You're going to say, if he's ready to send spies, it means that he's convinced. And he has all the information that the land is good. But no, it didn't happen. That's what the verse means, and the words find favor in my eyes, originally. And then he continues with the story. They went, and they didn't want, and Hashem was upset on them, and on and on and on. The story which we are reading in today's Parsha. But you see here that the background of today's Parsha is actually in Parsha's Devorim. In a few weeks from now, more than a month from now, you're going to find the story behind the story. And there's actually more details. The way Moshe is reviewing it later in Chumash Barim, you're going to find much more details, which is not necessarily mentioned in Parsha Shelach. Finally, he sends the spies. I want you to look at something interesting in the mission that Moshe tells her. He gives them the direction. On verse 17, he tells them also how to go. They don't have a GPS. They don't have Waze, right? So there's no cloud. They're going to have to figure it out themselves. And it's a desert. So he tells them what is the best way to get into Israel. And as Rashi also comments, he told them to go in from the south representing the least qualitative area of Israel. Yeah.
You mean the least nice part?
Exactly. You can tell them to go in from the Galilee, they can say, wow, beautiful. You can tell them to go in from Tel Aviv and the Jaffa port and see all the restaurants and get excited. Instead, he tells them, go for the Negev, go to Yerucham, Beersheba, Dimona, whatever. See if you like it. See if you like it. They go up to the south. And from the south, you should continue, ascend the mountain. He tells them to get all the way to Hebron, basically is where they came. And he says, I want you to see the land. Is it strong or weak? Is it few or numerous? And then he says, I want you to see also the people, how the people dwell there. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it fortified? Is it unfortified? Until it comes to verse 20. And this is what he tells them. Uma haaretz And how is the land? Ashmeinoi, is it a fertile land? Imrazo, or is it lean, skinny? Not fertile. Ayesh bo eitz, is there trees? Imayin, or not? Veit chazaktem, and you should strengthen yourselves. Ulekachtem mi priya oretz. I want you to take some samples from the fruit of the land. And the Torah continues that it wasn't asking them for samples of fruit in the middle of January or February, when then you can say, where am I going to find fruit? It says the Torah, V'hayomim yemei bikure anovim. There was the season of the first ripe grapes. Matter of fact, the anniversary of the day that they were sent, according to the traditional sources, was the end of this week, the 28th of Sivan. Matter of fact, this week was when the Meraglim was sent. I guess in Israel, that's the time when the first grapes ripes. Anybody in the, yeah?
About right.
Jerry has to say about right. Because if he would say it's right, then he wouldn't be Jerry. For long life, you should continue like this, Jerry. We love you. It's about right. Vayomim yemei bikure anovim, and that was the days where the season of the first ripe grapes. If you don't see them, it's because you don't look on the first. You have to find the first ones. They went to the south, they came to Hebron, and now they are fulfilling what Moshe asked them. So look on verse 23. Vayovoyu ad Nachal Eshkol. They arrived in the valley of Eshkol. Vayichresu mishom zmoiro, and cut from there a vine, and that vine add the Eshkol anovi mechol, with one cluster of grapes. A vine with one cluster of grapes. Okay, hanging on the vine. Va'isauhu bamoit b'shnayim. That cluster of grapes had to be carried on a pole with two people carrying the pole. So imagine I am walking here, somebody is walking beside me, I put the one hand of the pole on my shoulder, the other one puts the head of the pole on his shoulder, and the cluster is hanging in the middle. Or, according to other opinions, walking one in front of each other, I am holding the stick on one part of the stick on my shoulder. It ends up on the other person's shoulder, and by the way, that became the symbol of Jewish tourism in the state of Israel. Yes, on the cabs. I think Misrad HaTayarut, which is the office of tourism, that's their symbol. The cluster of grapes with two people carrying it on a stick. Positive?
Yeah.
Oh, not maybe. Not almost.
That's not maybe.
Okay, very good. So two people are carrying a cluster of grapes. And then they took umina rimonim, and they took from the pomegranates, umina te'enim, and they also took from the figs. Matter of fact, the Gemara tells us exactly how the carrying was. You have how many spies do you have?
12.
12. And how many figs? How many pomegranates? Doesn't say. So let's see what happened. So you have the quote of this Talmud is actually translated in English on your footnote of verse 23. You ready to read it? Yes. And the words on a double pole. So this is a quote from Rashi, but Rashi actually quotes the Talmud. They carried the cluster of grapes on a bed of poles. a bed of poles, meaning you have 2 poles and more sticks on it. So now there is the cluster not hanging but lying, resting on top of the bed. 2 poles from north to south, and another 2 supporting poles from east to west. So it goes like this. Look at me. 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? How many people need to carry?
2.
No.
8.
You need 8.
No, you cannot carry 4. No.
You have
Mm.
1 and 2. So you have 2 people here. Then you have another pole. And there and there. So then you have 1 and 2. That's already 4 people. Then you have 2 poles in the front and 2 in the four edges in the front and 4 edges in the back. So you have another. So you have 8 people, right?
You cannot walk this way. It's not possible.
Okay, we'll see. We'll make an experiment.
You can walk sideways. Yes.
You know, if you go on the
Sure,
shoulders,
you'll see, you cannot walk this way.
I will show you a picture soon. Hold on. Hold on. So there were a total.
You're an expert on walking.
So there were a total of 4 poles requiring 8 men to carry them. So now you have 8. Just carrying the what? The grapes.
Grapes.
Because only the grapes are on the poles. One spy carried a huge fig. That's spy number 9. And another carried a huge pomegranate. So that 10 of them were bearing produce.
More than 12.
Which means they were following Moses' instructions to bring back samples of the land's produce. But their true intention, says Rashi from the Talmud, was to show that the land was abnormal and dangerous, as evidenced by its mutant fruit. It's like, after Chernobyl, you saw what happened to the fruit after Chernobyl in Chernobyl. Every pomegranate blew up like a who knows what, right? God forbid. That's what happens when there is a nuclear attack or something very meshuggah. So somebody comes back from Israel and you see a spy is holding a huge disformed fig. What do you say? Oh, this is his fruit, this is the people, everyone is deformed, the answer place is meshuggah. It's not a place to go. That was their intention. For this reason, Rashi says, Joshua and Caleb, which is the leader of the tribe of Yehuda, did not participate in the enterprise. Rashi here and to Sota 24a. So you don't know how they walk. Let me show you what the Gemara says, and I believe there's even a picture of the Gemara. If I think that here. Here you go. According to Rashi, here are the walks. Here's the picture.
I see the picture, I don't see how physically it's possible to 8 people together.
We do an experiment, we get canes, and we get sticks. Put them on Mato. Put them on the mission. Next thing you have
There it is.
here.
I see that there's the
Yeah,
but plan. I understand, but I don't understand.
Oh, we'll see. Oh, they want to have 8 sticks.
You'll see that. Because the sticks have got to go this way. I mean, they have to facing
So
north.
maybe they don't help them and they don't put them on their shoulders.
You could buy number 2, they're not very far from each other.
One pole on each shoulder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the back.
And sideways,
They come
the same.
But the sideways ones don't fit on the shoulders.
Well, they could, but then they don't sidestep.
Sides, I said,
That's
that's what I
right.
mean.
They can't put it on the side.
I think you have to tangle.
No, not putting on the side. You said.
Arnold,
You said it.
Arnold, You remember I was, tell them.
Sure.
You were there.
There was no problem.
You were almost there, how was it?
No
No
problem.
problem, right?
Pomegranate.
This is almost a red herring. This is not.
No, it wasn't a game, it was a pomegranate.
What is it?
They were in together, there was
His expression, the red herring.
Pattern of sticks in it.
Either way, I have a question for you,
Who, for her or for me?
for all of you. Why were they bringing fruit? Clearly, that was a part of the order.
Mm-hmm.
Moshe told them to bring fruit
Mhm.
and to bring it as a sample.
Mm-hmm.
To who did Moshe tell it to? All of them.
Oh,
Who is bringing that?
10
10.
out of the 12.
What happened to the other 2?
I can tell you what I read.
I'm not interested in what you read.
Okay,
Why should I be interested in what you read?
because you probably read the same thing.
Oh, you read it in a holy book. I thought you read something in the paper.
Oh, no, holy.
Oh, let's see what you read for sure. What did you read?
The other two had gone to pray at the patriarch's gravesite.
And
And because they were at a higher spiritual level, they didn't want to partake in the
that's a reason not to follow Moses' instruction?
They, two of them,
Who
obviously,
did Moses tell to bring fruit? The entire group. 12 men are standing there, and they're all being charged with a mission to bring fruit.
But he didn't say every one of them to carry it. He just said
He told them, I want you to bring fruit. He didn't say
He's saying it to the
one
whole
yes
entire
and one
group.
not.
He's saying it to the entire
So
group.
everybody could have found an excuse. One is an excuse to go to Davin. The other one wants to go to check out the falafel in
These
the
two
stand
went to Davin.
in Geula Street.
Well,
And everybody wants to do
maybe
something.
it's,
What's the excuse is that?
maybe
If they
it's-
have a mission, sorry a second, they have a mission. And the mission specifically contains exact instructions what I want from you. I want you to look at the land. I want you to see the people. I want you to see if there's a fortified wall or unwalled city, right? And I want you to bring me fruit. And it tells them how the fruit is being brought. Not only that, you saw, the way we just explained it, how they had to be creative to make sure that they all are part of it, right? 2 poles, 4 poles. Luba has a problem with him walking. Somebody else has a problem with something else. But you see that the Talmud and the Gemara, this is, by the way, it's all based on the verses. The Gemara doesn't just make it up. Because the Gemara looks on the words used in the verse. Here it says it was a pole, here it says it was poles. There is in the plural, there's in the singular. Right? So all the verses indicate the idea that they will all participate. So what kind of excuse is that I'm holier, I don't carry? What do you mean you're holier?
But if you go back to last week or the week before, the Kohens were also told to carry,
And they will carry?
but all of them couldn't carry it, only some of them
No,
could carry
they
it.
were specific. It said who should and who should not.
So they all couldn't carry it.
So they
There's-
said,
there's more
right?
than-
So
yeah.
there are people who were given the charge. There was one tribe who was given, one tribe was
Yeah.
not given.
But that one tribe that was given, everybody in that tribe couldn't carry it.
So they had an order, I'm
Yeah.
sure. They had a reason. There you see, Moshe and Yeshua not. It's if Moshe wouldn't have asked them to do it, but then you say, okay, Moshe didn't ask, so whoever wanted did it. And you see clearly that Moshe told them, I want you to bring back fruit. If you hear an order from Moshe, you all want to do it. Everybody wants to do the shlichut of Moshe, the mission of
And if
Moshe.
there was
Somebody
suspicion,
needs to be a
they were
manager.
concerned.
One second, what?
Maybe they were worried, they were concerned that they were up to no good, and that's why they didn't want to
That's
participate.
right.
That's what Rashi said.
I didn't read what Rashi said, I'm wondering.
No, we read before. The Rashi said the idea of bringing the fruit was because they were up to not good. But that's also misunderstanding. Moshe told them to bring fruit. Moshe told them to bring fruit. Didn't he tell them to bring fruit?
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
told them, "V'itchazaktem, v'lakachtem mipri haaretz." You should bring from the fruit of the land.
Yes, but you could have had conversation going on between them that concerned them, and that's why they didn't want to participate.
Possibly,
Yeah,
possibly.
you know, about-
The Gemara says as follows. The Gemara says exactly what we did. Omar Rabbi Yitzchak, 8 of the spies carried the cluster of grapes, one carried a pomegranate, and one carried a fig. Joshua and Caleb did not carry anything. And basically the Gemara goes into details how much weight every person, an average person, is able to carry, and with this it explains why whatever they carry, what they carry. The Gemara explains why Joshua and Caleb did not participate in the carrying of the fruit. Says the Gemara, two explanations. Explanation number one is because they were distinguished individuals, and it would not be fitting for them carry those burdens. That's the Maisa. Elite. Yeshua was Moshe's student. Caleb was the tribe of Yehuda, royalty. Not everybody schleps. There are the schleppers, and then there are those who join the schleppers. Okay, this is one Talmudic explanation. The Ibn is saying, the second explanation is that why didn't they carry? Says the Gemara, because they were not part of that plan of the other spies to discourage the Jews from entering Eretz Israel. Remember? They're all coming back. 10 of the spies say no reason to go there. And Yeshua and Caleb say no. Toiv Oretz Moed Meoid. So now you wonder, so why didn't they go? The Gemara says, either they didn't, it wasn't fitting for them to schlep, or that they somehow they didn't plan. They didn't want to be a part of the plan. But I don't understand it. What do you mean you weren't a part of the plan? The idea to bring fruit was given to them before the story of the spies took place. Before they became bad people. While they were still leaders of the tribe, the distinguished leaders of the tribes, Moshe told them, you are to go into the land and to search it, and what? Bring me fruit. If you have an order from Moshe, what can I excuse of it? So you can say, like David Schneider said in the beginning, like we already meant to say, that maybe there was no mission for each one to be a part of the fruit. In other words, there is two types of mitzvot. Sometimes there's a mitzvah to do a certain act, and sometimes the mitzvah is to accomplish a certain thing. God wants you to put on tefillin. So the mitzvah is to wrap tefillin on your arm. You can't have somebody else wrap the tefillin on his arm and say, be my emissary. Because the tefillin is to be put on your body. Your body has to be a body which carried tefillin today. When somebody becoming your emissary, your agent is still his own body. If there is a need to accomplish a certain mission, then it doesn't have to be me. For example, it comes to tzedakah. I can give somebody $100, tell them, go over to the family in need and give them that envelope. There's no mitzvah for me to be the one going over to the house and delivering the envelope. I can put it in a fund and say, you distribute this tzedakah to this group of people, to these organizations. And you fulfill the mitzvah of tzedakah. Because the mitzvah of tzedakah does not require you personal activity, even though if you work on yourself as far as character development, as far as improving your trade, so obviously the fact that you are the one who takes out the pen and writes a check and puts on your hand in your pocket and takes out a dollar bill, you constantly developing yourself as a better person. Because after all, you gave and you shared, and each time with another kvetch. It's not like somebody sitting gets in the gvul, you don't even see, you just get a statement every month. The bank, you did a printout, this amount of money went to tzedakah, this amount of money went for my mortgage, this amount of money went for my from my what do you call this club and that club and the ankle club and whatever, all kind of goodies. Which is also a big mitzvah. You also gave tzedakah. You gave up something which belongs to you, something which could have been your own food. At the same time, the Rambam says, Maimonides in Pirkei Avot says that Akoy lefi roiv ha'maaseh, that tzedakah works according to the multitude of activities. Meaning, Hashem wants you to keep on working your hand, you know. You read like Roch's grandfather, Mr. Weiss, once told me at the end of Purim. I called him up, it was at the end of Purim. He says, Zaidi, you know how are you doing? He says, oh, Baruch Hashem, I can't move my hand from writing so many checks today. You're sitting all day writing, and people come and going. You know, Baruch Hashem, my hand, I can't move my hand. I feel like paralyzed. Or you see the Rebbe standing hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. I don't even know how he kept his hand going. It was like, just try to lift it up, one after another, after another. So that's the idea when it comes to certain mitzvahs. Other mitzvahs, it's enough that other mitzvahs you need actually the activity. Can't have, you know what, Jerry, it's Pesach tomorrow night. Big mitzvah to eat matzah. Do me a favor, eat a piece of matzah for me. Eat a piece of matzah for me. Daven for me, Rabbi, can you pray for me? Can you eat for me? Can you
Rabbi?
1 second. So there is two types of mitzvahs. There's the mitzvahs which require the act, so to speak, which we call the Maisa mitzvah, the act of the mitzvah. And then there is the mitzvah which the accomplishment is what counts. What is the result? What is the end result? What do I want you to accomplish? And whatever way you're going to get to it is not my problem. As long that the mission was accomplished. So possibly, when Moses told them to bring fruit, if the mitzvah would have been an activity, I want you to bring fruit because I want you to be the one carrying it. So then we have a question, Moshe, Yeshua, Kalev, why aren't you not a part of that mission? Why aren't you doing what Moses asked you? But if we would learn that that it wasn't that the act was counted, rather it was the accomplishment, that fruit should be presented in displays before the people in the desert, they should see some samples of Israeli fruits, then as long that it arrives, whether it came by a drone or it came by a helicopter or it came by his people, lo mishaneh. They doesn't make a difference. They were the ones who had to facilitate that fruit should be presented in the desert before the nation. That would answer why they didn't do it. But it seems from the Gemara, the fact that the Gemara is looking for reasons to excuse Moshe and Yoshua, the Gemara, I guess, assumes that there is a need for it. There was an activity which was required, and the Gemara is begging for an explanation. Why didn't they not do it? And the explanation still did not satisfy us, because after all, Moshe told them, I want you to bring me fruit. What excuse do you have not to bring fruit? Now, what do you want to say?
You mentioned earlier because of their greatness, but I
didn't mention, the Gemara said.
I read it here in Chumash that the tribes were listed in the order of their personal greatness of the spies.
No.
The Ramban. Zaskor, Caleb is listed third and Joshua fifth, implying that two spies were greater than either of them.
Okay, another
Which
question.
would say that those two spies greater
Okay,
were the ones
another
that
question. Question is how do you evaluate greatness? Could be for certain things they had other tribes greater than them, and regarding other values they were greater than them. Fine, all this is good, wonderful discussions that we can all get into and understand and try to understand. But what is the idea? What's going on? Why didn't they bring fruit? This is the question that bothers me.
Well,
Why didn't the two of them participate in bringing the fruit?
His explanation you just explained about the two ways of mitzvah. You
But
brought it,
I
they
say
brought
that
it, they
would
didn't
be an
have to
explanation if
Yeah.
the Gemara would not be bothered by it. That would have been a simple answer. They didn't bring fruit because they didn't have to. Mission was accomplished with Adam.
Well, the Gemara
The
didn't
fact that the
talk about
Gemara is
it.
looking for this reason and for that reason means that it seems that it was a responsibility for them to personally get involved, And we have to find and explain, so why didn't they? Yes, Bula, you want to say something? You were saying something?
They couldn't walk sideways.
Did you say something? I don't know.
I don't know.
Because they were a manager, they're not supposed to.
They were managers. Where do you see in the appointment of the spies that somebody was a manager and somebody else was an employee? Where do you see it? I mean, I know in the field that you work, there is probably someone who's a manager and someone who's an accountant.
If there is a group of people doing any job, somebody needs to be on the top and manage their job. And show where to go and just give them some advice.
Coordinators. Okay. But why did they pick to be the ones? Basically, okay.
Yeshua was giving extra letter to his name.
No.
So this is making greater than everybody.
And Kalev?
Kalev was a king anyway.
King? Because it's the tribe of Yehuda.
Yeah.
Wasn't the king? He was there on the tribe.
Tribe of the Yehuda.
So Yehuda was a Yichas because he was king.
Yeah.
And Zvulun was Yichas because he had money. And Yisachar was Yichas because he learned. And Naphtali was Yichas because he was swift. And in Asher was Yichas because he had beautiful daughters. I mean, I can give you the list of everyone's unique traits and character and personality. They were all great in their own way. I will share with you something which is very interesting and maybe revolutionary, which the Rebbe discusses. I mean, essentially, like the Rebbe always does, he shows us that that's what Rashi actually says. But the way he gets to it is from the other way, and now you see it in Rashi. But it also carries an important message. Basically, Aaron, the talus back there, I think it's on the floor. What's with it? Put it on the chair or something. Put it on the table. Yeah. Okay, thank you. There is a concept in Jewish law, actually, called Mesayea Ledvar Aveira. Mesayea in Hebrew means assisting. Dvar Aveira means a matter of negative prohibition. Basically, a Nazirite. Remember last week you learned about the Nazirite? Mm-hmm. A Nazirite is a person who took a vow to remain a Nazirite, which makes them forbidden from drinking wine. A Nazirite comes over to you and he says, Rabbi, I would really like a cup of wine. Can you go to the store for me? Now, I know you're a Nazirite. You're not supposed to drink wine. He gives me a few dollars, gives me his credit card. He makes me go to the store. He asks me, I go to the store and bring him a cup of wine. The Nazirite says a good l'chaim and a cup of wine. Did I in any way violate something? The Nazirite for sure violated the prohibition of drinking wine. I was the nice guy who someone asked me for a favor to go and bring him a cup of wine. So there's a concept in Jewish law called Mesayea Ledvar Aveira, that not only you're not supposed to sin, you're not supposed to assist someone in his state of sin. If I brought someone a cup of wine, I violated the prohibition of supporting a sinner through his act of sin. Part of it has to do with the negative prohibition read in Parshas Kedoshim, when the Torah says, "Lifnei iver lo titen michshol." You should not place a stumbling something wrong, in a sense, meaning that person who is drinking wine as a Nazirite is acting as a blind person now. Mm-hmm. Not acting. He is described as a blind person, meaning he doesn't see the right way that he's supposed to behave. His way of behavior is to abstain from wine. He looks away from it. He's blind. You come and you give him a cup of wine. What happened at that moment? He stumbled over the stone without seeing that he's doing something wrong. You were the one who brought him the wine. He wouldn't have get the wine without you. So you are a part of that violation of having a Nazarite drinking wine.
This is like English law, right? Where a person commits a crime and another person is an accessory to the crime.
Accessory, meaning you drove him over to the crime. He was the taxi driver,
Assistant, yeah.
maybe things like that. And these goes into a lot of areas in halacha, in Jewish law, when and what and how am I considered an assistant and when not. For example, a Jew comes in to here, even to the Torah Center. I say, oh, can I offer you something to drink? Are you allowed to drink without making a blessing before? No. You have to make a bracha before you do. I give him a cup of soda. Chaim. I don't have him say, he doesn't make a bracha. I might be a part of the problem, because if I wouldn't have offered him, he would have never drank without a bracha. Why not? Why not?
Because he's thirsty.
Okay.
And you're saving
Very
his
good,
life.
very good, very good, very good. So we have to get into exceptions. If he's thirsty, then you should give. If he's not gonna, if by asking him to make a bracha, he's gonna look at you and say, those, low lives who can't even give me a normal drink without making me into religion. So he's gonna have him hate you as a Jew. You can also give him. That's one of the rules that actually, what's his name? Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, who was not a Chabad Chassid, but he was a great halachic authority in Israel, passed away in the early 90s. He said, he writes it in his book, I saw it written. He said about a guy who's secular comes to your house. By asking him to by giving him drink without a bracha, he might violate the prohibition of drinking without a bracha. Then you assisted the sinner. But in the other hand, by asking him to make a bracha, he's going to get upset on you. That's what you do. You got an opportunity to get you, to do a religious act. So now he's going to become great. He hates you anyway, but now he's going to hate you even more. So from Zalman Auerbach, we have a greater responsibility from preventing another Jew to hate us than the responsibility to make him say a bracha. And therefore you can give it to him without making a bracha. You don't have to tell him don't make a bracha. You don't have to make him a sugar either. Meaning if he doesn't want to make a bracha, he's nice, so drink it anyway. There's a whole area. Comes the Shemitah year in Israel. Comes up every year. What about Shemitah? Forget about Shemitah. Somebody comes to me, a guy who wants to borrow my car. He's not observing Shabbos. Next thing I know, my car is driving down North Up. Hello, hi, on Shabbos. What is my car driving on North Up on Shabbos? I was a nice guy. I gave somebody my car, but he doesn't care. So my car is being driven. Am I assisting a sinner now?
No.
Yes? No? Why? Maybe?
No.
No.
Yes.
Why not?
Yes.
Well, you didn't know he was
No,
going
you
to
didn't know.
For sure, yeah.
If you didn't know, no.
If he doesn't know, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
And if he knows,
You didn't tell
I
him.
give it to
He
Arnold,
chose.
he knows.
He chose it, you didn't tell him. That's how your fault.
He knows. So then,
Oh, he
am
knows.
I violating or is he's violating?
You are,
No,
Me?
he did.
It's his
So I
responsibility.
shouldn't give him my car ever.
Yeah, but you don't.
Every Friday I gotta take it away from him. Come Friday, give me back my car. It's actually a Mishnah. It's a Mishnah. The Mishnah talks about not Shabbos, not about a car. The Mishnah talks about tools which are to work the field during Shemitah. You know, the 7th year you're not supposed to work. And the Mishnah says it's okay to give somebody a plowing tool with a tractor that is going to use on Shemitah. Why? The Mishnah goes into explanation that you can't support them at the time of the sin. But if you gave it to him before and then he picks to do with that work at the time that he's forbidden, then it's his problem, not your problem. But I'm only saying there's all kinds of conditions even into that rule. But the one thing is clear, There is a rule that you cannot support a sinner. That rule is clear. Exactly to break it into the condition, into the circumstances and the scenarios that you want to know, you can have discussions. But this is the rule. It's called Mesayea Ledvar Avera. Supporting someone to do an Avera. Let's go back now to what's going on with the spies. Yes, there's definitely clear orders by Moshe. I want you to bring me back fruits. Let them see how beautiful the land is. And the spies are all going together, and they all are required to bring fruit, let's say. Even we're going to go with the approach that there was an activity that it was incumbent upon each and every one of them to be a part of the bringing of the fruit. Yet, Yoshua and Caleb see that something changed in those people that we are traveling together with. They are not interested to get into this land, for whatever reason. Physical, spiritual, I don't want to go into that. We discussed it in previous years, and I'm sure that you know all the great insights. And if you don't know, you ask David Schneider. So, okay, they are not interested in going into the land. And they take fruit. And they're looking for those big, humongous, very interesting looking fruits. And Yeshua and Caleb noticed, there is a plot there. There is a conspiracy. They are going to tell the people like they did actually. Great. Land is great. This is great. And this is great. Flowing milk and honey. And as the verse says on verse 26, the first thing they did, Vayashivu Eisam Davo Veskolo Eido. Look on page 801, verse 26. They went and came to Moshe and Aaron in the place. They brought back a report. Before they bring the report, what do? What does the verse say?
The entire assembly should be.
And before they say the report, what do they do?
Show them.
Vayarum es pri haaretz. They show them the fruit of the land. Here it is. You see that? And then they said, Banu el haaretz, we came, and it's flowing in Kanoni, and this is its fruit. And this is its fruit. The fruit is strange, and the people are strange. And this was the conspiracy that that Yeshua and Caleb noticed when they were picking this fruit. At that point, Yeshua and Caleb had to make the following decision. This is the choice they had to make. Listen to that. Are we going with our mission to bring fruit along with the rest of the spies? Because that's what the Rebbe said. Moshe said, that's what I want you to do. But at the same time, it's going to appear to the community that we are joining that conspiracy of the spies. Or we're going to tell to our Rebbe, dear Rebbe, I know what you want us to do, but if we are doing what you want us to do, we are assisting the sinners. And that's why we are deciding better not to do your shlichut, not to do your mission, rather than being an assistant and a support to somebody who is considered a sinner. And this is, the Torah tells us, is the choice they made. Sometimes, even it becomes a holy duty, a great accomplishment. Moshe tells you to do something. You have to use your seichel. Just a second. You also have to use your mind. You have to use your brain. Don't think that everything which is there and presenting itself as a part of the greater mission is really where you belong. How often do I see all kinds of meshugas and people join certain activities and certain groups. They say, oh, it's for Israel, it's for this, that's for the Jews. But they will not using their chachma, their seichel, to see, Allah, these people are using you. They are having, it's your money, they're using your involvement. They don't have the right intention here. They have an agenda. And their agenda is straight. But they know that as far as action is concerned, you want to, you are part of it. Somebody asked me a question. I'm not going to tell you the ruling. And I'm really not getting into it. Somebody asked me a question here in the community that it was offered by a Christian church to travel to Israel for free by the church. Why not? Kol hakavod, let them pay, and I'm going to go to Israel.
No.
Oh?
No.
Okay? And then you say, why not? What do you call them? Angelicals, mechanicals, they want you to go. They're going to pay for you. Unbelievable. Rabbi, I was never in Israel. It's an opportunity. My neighbor, he likes my this, he likes my that, he likes my dog, whoever it is. And he told me that their church will support me to go to Israel. And we're going to go together. We're going to go together. We're going to really have a good time. No? Is there anything greater for somebody to visit than to visit Israel? Ah, what a beautiful mitzvah. And this guy doesn't have another opportunity. He doesn't have money. Tickets are expensive. And here he has his Christian neighbor is offering him a trip for free together with his church. That's called, you need to have seichel. Not everything which is a mitzvah, you're joining the people which not necessarily are looking for the same result and have the same agenda what you are. You are a Jew, so you have to go to Israel because every Jew has to go to Israel. They have a whole other agenda there. Whatever meshugas it is, I don't want to go into the details now, especially that I'm being recorded over here, but whatever this agenda is, there is an agenda. And you have to be very careful. That's what, by Hasidim they always knew. There's a concept that the most important thing is to have seichel. You know what seichel means?
No.
Seichel doesn't mean just knowledge. Seichel doesn't just mean intellect.
Common sense.
It's the understanding, or as they call it by Hasidim, the shmek.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to smell. It looks very kosher. It looks 100% kosher. Smell. What does it smell like? You smell it and you say it's very good, but I'm not a part of it. Sorry. Huh? You have to be very, very sensitive with your nose. One of the very important faculties that Hashem gave us is to sense, to have the right shmek, the right aroma, the right smell. And sometimes you want to get involved in something, even myself. And I ask sometimes people, my own mentor, should I do it? And it's obviously schmeckt nicht gut. In Yiddish it means it doesn't smell right. Then why? It's great, this, that, we don't do it together. It schmeckt nicht gut. Someone with a better nose, whose nostrils are more open, knows how to smell, and he has a greater sensitivity, and he can tell you whether it smells or it smells. And here is what Yeshua and Kalev are teaching us. Yes, you're right. Moshe told us to do it. And this is the right thing to do. And there is a mitzvah to bring fruit. But if we are bringing fruit along with this chabura, with this group, this is not going to end up right, because this old fruit bringing does not smell right now. That wasn't the plan. Use your shmek. Use your nose, not just you. It's not all about numbers and does it fit and it doesn't fit and does it make, does it equal up right. It's not about the balance. It's also about the sensitivity. And that's what Yeshua and Kalev teach us in this week's Parsha. It can be even Moshe who told us. I think Moshe would be very happy if we don't come back with those fruits. Because this group does not smell right. Laila Tov, everybody. A pleasure as always. Good night.
Thank you.
Hey, one second. Yosef had a question. You forgot it.
Oh, no, I was just saying that basically they saw Caleb Joshua that they hijacked their sign. Is it like on Shabbat, if you see someone that you can save a life, but you say, no, I can't work on Shabbat, I'm not gonna rescue you from the pond. You drowning, but I'm right there.
No.
Is it like that?
Then it's Parsha. Then you have to do
Oh, but why did they walk back with the Chavorah? Because that they're still together. They should walk back by themselves.
it. It's a good question. You know what? You're right. I don't know. I take this question. It's a good question. You
Because
should start
together,
with it.
it's
You know
together.
what? You're right. I don't have an answer. You know, based on that approach, they should have probably walked back separately.
Maybe it was
too.
dangerous for the two just to walk through the,
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
some animal could take a bite out of them.
What?
I said, all those giants, you wouldn't wanna be.
Nice.
They were
Also, you have to be there around to make sure that they don't say more than they would say. They watch them.
Oh, spies of the spies.
Spy for the spy. The guard for the spy.
Contribute, we heard this.